So, hello everyone, and welcome back to Nicole Myths, Astrology and Tarot. We are doing a person 1 and person 2 reading. This has found you in divine time. Whenever it is meant to catch you, there is a message for you to take away from it, all right? I was drawn to use my Mystical Manga Tarot today. I also have my Hermetic Tarot, and I've drawn out, I've got my Fairy Oracle here, and I've got my Journey of Love cards here. All right, and I also have, this is an awesome gift that I had gotten from a client / soul sister, which I love, and I'm going to open up a magical page for you today. So we're going to find out what is going on between you and whoever it is that is on your mind and or in your reality, or both, because things mirror for a reason. And sometimes when we're dealing with something in the reality and we wish we were or had someone else in the reality, it's because one needs to be addressed in order to be able to receive or energetically connect with the other. So we'll figure out what is going on, because if you have someone on your mind and the reading is about someone else, that someone else may be the issue between you and the person on your mind, right? So take it how it resonates. You could be person 1, or you could be person 2. You could see yourself in the divine mirror of both. All right, but we are going to get right into it with person 1. So, by the way, if you can, drop a like. It helps support me and the channel very much. Drop comments. Let me know if this reading resonates with you whenever it is that you're catching it. And know that I appreciate all the shares of any of my content, because it helps, you know, the channel gain exposure and things like that. It helps me grow. So thank you in advance to everybody who does that to support me. You are greatly appreciated. Here we go. Person 1. Spirit, please. What insight can you give us into person 1? What insight can you give us in divine time about person 1? What is going on with them? What else? Clarities, please. Okay. The High Priestess on the bottom, and the Two of Wands on top. All right, who's person number 2? Who is person number 2, and what is going on with person number 2? We'll take the cards that are flipped up right here. Put the chunk back. Give me one more. Okay. So we've got Temperance on both sides. So Sagittarian energy on both sides, which means they're strong or significant Sagittarian placements. Okay. This could be Sag Suns, it could be Sag Moons, it could be Sagittarius Rising, right? It could be Sagittarius Jupiter, Sagittarius Saturn, Sagittarius Uranus. It could be any major planet, all right, that you have, any major placement that you have in Sag, okay? But it's probably the connecting energy between the two of you, okay, because it's in both readings. So both parties most likely have a significant Sagittarian placement that is keeping them connected, all right, or is the reason why you're tuning into this reading, all right, it's your connected Sagittarian energy. With that said, oh yeah, top and bottom of the deck, we have the Knight of Coins on top for that one and the Knight of Cups on the bottom. Okay, so with that said, person number one might also have some seriously significant Piscean placements, especially if by chance they have a Pisces moon or some kind of other lunar placement like the nodes, like north or south node, black moon Lilith, white moon Selene. Like there could definitely be some Piscean moon energies going on in their charts, because we have the moon card and we have the high priestess out here, and both of these are Piscean placements. They might also have a Sagittarius moon or Sagittarian challenges, because Temperance is clarifying the moon on person number one side. We also have the Magician here for person number one, so they may have significant Geminian placements, okay? Person number two, the only major arcana they have is Temperance. And no other defining factors. So they may be a Sag, or it may just simply be their Sagittarian placement that's at play here. Okay. They may be dealing with a Sagittarian Saturn. Because it's underneath the Seven of Swords, which is an Aquarian card, and Saturn's in Aquarius right now. They might also be dealing with a Black Moon Lilith Sag energy, or something of that vibration, because we have a Black Crescent Moon on that card. Okay. So getting into the actual readings, and they could have some serious Libra placements too, because we've got Libra really strong on this card, as symbolically, right? Symbolically speaking. So they could have some serious Libra placements as well. Jupiter Capricorn is present on these cards, right? This card here. Mercury, Cancer. So they're different placements, right? Take it as it resonates for you. I know some of you really enjoy the placements of the cards. So person number one is at a crossroads. All right, person number one is at a crossroads in their choosing of things. Okay, they might not literally be forced with a decision in front of them where they have to choose A or choose B, but they might actually be dealing with a spiritual choice, right? Do I go down this road or continue down this road, or do I take a different one, right? This is a spiritual choice that they intuitively know they are making right now. The Emperor is underneath the High Priestess on the bottom of the deck, so strong masculine energy that they're being asked to step into. Person number one is being asked to really step into their masculine energy. In other words, life may have been just happening to them for a long time. Okay, everything just happens. It just happens. I just so happen to end up here. I just so happen to end up with this person. I just so happen to be dealing with this situation, right? It's very feminine energy to receive. Everything just so happens to happen. But masculine energy is when you dictate the choices being made and choose a path, right? Instead of the path choosing you or just simply unfolding before you, you choose it yourself, right? You choose to change course. So this person number one, is being asked to choose. Okay, they're being asked to choose. Chances are they're more likely to just continue on the path that they've been on and let life happen to them, right? Life pushes them as far as it could push them, and then it forces them over the edge into the next stage of things, okay? It's typically misaligned energy. when you know spirit is pinging you for things and not listening. Okay, because spirit pings all of us. When we don't listen for so long, spirit forces our hand, and it takes a long time for the universe to get us where it needs us to be, as opposed to how fast it would have been if we just chose it on our own. All right, so person number one, it continues further because we have the Eight of Coins, right, which is all about effort and due diligence, clarified by the Magician. All right, and this is having to make an effort with your own magic. Manifesting, right? This is about making an effort to manifest with your own will. This is your own will and intention. So person number one, I'm going to reiterate it again, has to make a serious effort to be the creator of their own life instead of things just happening to them. This is someone who needs to start making serious choices and taking ownership of their choices or the lack thereof, right? Ownership of their ability to change and shift or the lack thereof, because when people don't change, shit just tends to keep happening. And then people are like, well, I don't know why shit happens to me. It's because you haven't made the internal shift, right? You're not using all of your elements in order to work magic. You're not using the mind with the heart, with the soul, with the reality, right? There's 4 ingredients to life. And if you're trying to get gold out of lead without all of the ingredients and not doing the process, due diligence, then you're not going to get the gold you're after. You know what I mean? Now, the Moon and the Nine of Cups, which follows, both did come out in the reverse, which means this person may be having a really hard time alchemizing their shadow. Okay, the Moon card, I'm showing it to you upright. The Moon card clarified by Temperance. Temperance, Sagittarian energy, is the alchemist. It is the self-fulfilling prophet type card. Okay, you have to bring in your own awareness of self and really take it for what it is and take your value for face value. A lot of people will either do one of two things. They'll either devalue themselves and make themselves in their own minds worth less than what they really are, or they will do the opposite and they will trump themselves up like they're some big catch, some great catch, when they're really, their actual value is shit. Okay. So this shadow is what is being alchemized, and there may be a resistance to seeing what the shadow is, you know, especially like a lot of times, and narcissist empath dynamics are the best example, because a narcissist will trump themselves up so hard. They will make themselves seem so valuable, and yet they're a fucking addict, or they're a fucking drunk, or they're a fucking cheater, and they have zero actual value as a partner. Like, they're shit value. To anybody else worth a shit, they're gonna look at this person and be like, they're worthless. As a partner, they're a fucking addict, or they're a drunk, or they're a cheat. Like, who the fuck would want to be with them? Right? But to the narcissist, they've created a huge value in themselves. I'm so and so. I have this and I created that, and you need me for this, and you know, the heck with you if you don't see my value. And it's like, yeah, but your value is all smoke and mirrors. You know what I mean? It's all fucking trumped up bullshit. Where an empath might have this really huge heart space, all this consideration. They're like Superman or Superwoman in their relationships, right? They're doing a million things, and they're not allowing themselves to see that maybe they're putting up with a bullshit, valueless partner when they're actually bringing what a good partner is to the table, right? A good partner is considerate. A good partner does try and be one step ahead. A good partner will try and make the life of their partner easier, right? And it's unfortunate that they end up in those dynamics, right? These narcissistic empathic dynamics. As an example, right? As an example on how someone can trump up their value when they're really worthless as a partner, versus someone who might really have a lot of value as a partner and be a genuinely awesome partner to someone who sees their value and what they bring to the table, and yet, you know, they don't actually see their own worth because, you know, they're not this enough or they're not that enough or whatever the case may be, right? They devalue themselves and settle for less than what they're worth. So there's an issue with person number one, and it can go either way, right? Either way, their value is what's alchemizing, and their shadow is keeping them from really seeing it, okay? With the Nine of Cups in the reverse and the Five of Swords. And I'm going to show you the Nine of Cups upright. Okay. With the Five of Swords, this is definitely, hey, how you doing? This is definitely someone who... One, they could definitely be an alcoholic and overdrink and then start fights with people or arguments with people, or they're dealing with someone in their reality like this. Okay, they might have a wish that they want to be fulfilled, a soul wish, and there might not be a reconciling of arguments or things like that. They're more inclined to let people walk away from them than face their issue, right? Like... And a great example with alcoholics, you know, they lose a lot of good people in their life because of their drinking. They lose them because of their drinking, but they will be the last person to admit that their drinking is a problem. Everybody else can see that their drinking is a problem. And the people who love them might tell them that their drinking is a problem. But it's the people that love them the most that end up having to walk away because eventually they realize they don't deserve it. You know what I mean? So person number one could be dealing with an issue like that. Person number one might also be at a loss with this wish because, like I said, the Nine of Cups, it did come out in the reverse. The wish is not being granted, and it may be because of an argument and someone walked away. It might have been person number two. All right, person number two might have walked away, and I say person number two because two people are walking away from person number one. And person number one might feel like they've won the battle. You know, maybe they left person number two before person number two could leave them, and they might be a little smug, but at the end of the day, they're holding three swords, and they're the ones holding the pain. Three swords is pain. Two are on the ground. So person number two might have been left between a rock and a hard place because that's what the Two of Swords kind of represents. But person number one is holding the three swords, and that's the heartbreak. So, you know, person number one, if they are dealing with addictions like and things like that, or they're having a hard time seeing themselves, or they're having a hard time not being the victim, like life just happens to me, people just leave me, you know, I get in these arguments with people and, you know, they walk away from me, or I have to walk away from them before they walk away from me because it hurts me when they walk away. I mean, person number one's actually in a pretty good deal of pain, which is why Spirit's talking to them like, hey, you have a choice to make. Like, you're not physically facing a shift, A or B choice, but you have a spiritual choice to make. Okay, person number one has a spiritual choice to make concerning themselves and what is essentially person number two. Okay, getting into person number two. Person number two has the Two of Swords clarified by the Queen of Wands, the Three of Cups clarified by the Two of Pentacles, and the Seven of Swords clarified by the Temperance card. And then we have the Knight of Pentacles on top with the Knight of Cups on bottom. Now, the Two of Swords is that rock and a hard place, right? Which is what I was talking about here. The Two of Swords with the two people walking away. The Two of Swords is on person number two's side with the Queen of Fire. This person, because the Two of Swords in this particular deck is the Lord of Peace Restored, and it's with the Queen of the Throne of Flames. Person number two could very well be a fire sign. Okay, could very well be a fire sign. And this person may have just literally created some kind of balance in their life. Libra moon. Moon is also fourth house, so they may have a fourth house Libra placement. Hey. Yeah, you're a Leo. Yeah, this is most likely, person number 2 is most likely a fire sign and probably just ended up in a state of peace. Okay. They probably just ended up in a state of peace and or achieve some kind of balance in their life. Because of all the moon energy, which like I said is a Cancerian placement, I'm drawn to 4th house. Okay. Might be some serious 4th house Libra energy there. This particular Queen of Wands also has double Aries Pisces energy on it, so you could be a Pisces Aries cusp. Okay. Dealing also with the 3 of Cups, clarified by the 2 of Pentacles. Again with this Cancerian energy, because there's Cancer on this card here with Mercury. And this is Jupiter in Capricorn. So depending on what house Cancer rules for you or what house Capricorn rules for you or where your Jupiter placement is could be affecting this kind of energy. The 3 of Cups is, I mean, it could be a third party situation, but I'm definitely feeling that this is abundance. I'm feeling this 3 of Cups is definite abundance, especially because it is the Lord of Abundance card. Okay. And the 2 of Coins is harmonious change. I feel like this is a very as above and so below manifestation. All right. As above and so below. I feel like maybe the divine has poured down some really balanced, super balanced reality. Okay. I feel as if this person, especially with the Mercury in Cancer, because that energy is a resonation or vibration of nurturance and self-consideration, okay, or self-compassion, right? Cancerian energy, especially when it's applied in the mind, right? Which is the vibrations that we have going out. You know, it's in sync with heart space because Cancerian energy is very emotional. It's very feminine energy in general. And then we have the 7 of Swords with the Temperance energy. This is the Lord of unstable effort with the Daughter of Reconcilers, okay, which is the Sagittarian energy on this card. The Lord of unstable effort with the Daughter of Reconcilers. And for this being a 7 of Swords, it really does remind me of the 3 of Swords because 4 of the swords are curved, right? There's 2 swords on either side that are curved, which is 4 swords. And then we have the 3 swords in the middle. Four of Swords is the taking a break card. And the 3 of Swords is pain. So dealing with this energy of unstable effort, there might be someone taking a break from what is essentially unstable or painful mental energy, collectively speaking, and they're in a state of alchemization, okay, especially between their houses ruled by Capricorn and Scorpio, because you can see those energies present on the card here, okay. And Temperance is in fact a Sagittarian card. This person might be taking things super slow. And they may, because looking at the Knight of Cups on the bottom, the Fool is underneath with the 5 of Swords and the 10 of Cups. And the Empress is under that. So we had the Emperor underneath the bottom of this deck and the Empress underneath the bottom of this one. Death card under that. Whoever person number 2 is, I feel like they're a very proud person. Like they're proud of themselves, not prideful in that sense, but very proud of themselves. And they may be communicating that or expressing that. And I think they know if they offered that flower, right? Because this flower here that has the sword through it here is the flower that is presented here with the Fool. And yet the Five of Swords is going through it and destroying the flower. You know what I mean? And I feel like this person, if they want the Ten of Cups, has to move forward with the Six of Swords and choose to receive from elsewhere. I feel like if person number one is argumentative and or combative and or has an addiction, some kind of problem, right? Particularly potentially drinking. I think they understand, like, person number two can't move forward with person number one until that's actually reconciled. Because the pain here, I think someone would defend their addiction and choose to fight for their addiction as opposed to fight for person number two and let their addiction go, because you can't have both. Right? It's like people always say you're married, you can only marry one thing. And for person number one, it's their addiction. Okay, for person number one, it's whatever it is that is their self-sabotage. And it might be more than one thing. It might not be just drinking. But they definitely have a habit of sabotaging themselves out of their wish being granted, right? So person number two may be in a situation where they understand that if they really want the Ten of Cups, the emotional fulfillment, the dream, right, come true, which is essentially what the Ten of Cups is, the dream come true card, the dream manifest card, feeling emotionally full, feeling complete and whole, right? If they really do want that feeling, they might have to let go of person number one entirely and look into a completely different third-party person, as above and so below, to mirror them, right? To bring in that harmonious change. Hey, how you doing, Lorraine? Person number one, okay, so here's the deal. Person number one feels like they're at a crossroads spiritually because they are. Because they are. Let's just say there's a time limit, okay, for person number one to choose to better themselves, to choose to release their addiction, to choose to self-own and be responsible for themselves. Like, there is a time limit for person number one, okay? Person number one is feeling that choice on an internal level because that choice does actually need to be made. There might be nothing in their reality forcing them to change right now, but they're being pinged. Like, they kind of know they should probably quit drinking, or they should probably quit cheating, or they should probably get their shit together and grow up. They should probably stop whatever it is that they're addicted to, right? They should probably grow the fuck up. Okay, person number one knows they should probably grow the fuck up, and the choice is internal. Do I grow up or not? Am I going to essentially be a spiritual child instead of a matured spiritual soul? Like, what am I going to do? Am I going to keep being reprimanded by spirit and punished by the universe and blah, 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 because I keep making the same fucking mistakes and haven't learned? Or am I going to grow up, and am I going to improve, and am I going to evolve, and am I going to face the better version of me that can exist when I choose it? You know what I mean? Person number one is at a choice point where they need to decide whether or not they are going to shift and make the effort to change their life and actually receive the wish that they want, right? Are they going to face their moon and heal it? Are they going to alchemize it? Are they going to heal it? Or are they literally going to be their self-fulfilling prophet? Like, if person number one is in there, let's just say, for example, they are an alcoholic, and person number two is gone, right? And they're afraid that person number two is going to find somebody else and get married and live happily ever after, and that was their person, right? Or it wouldn't be in their reading. and they're going to live happily ever after with someone else. Well, if person number one doesn't change their tune and start to grow up and shift and spiritually mature, they are going to self-fulfill that prophecy, that shadow moon. They're going to self-fulfill it. They will see person two move on to someone else and probably get married and live happily ever after with the Ten of Cups, because that's what's coming for person number two either way. Whether person one wakes up or doesn't, person number two is going to move forward, right, as the Empress and choose to receive what is their Ten of Cups. They're going to completely transform, right? So if a third party has to be called in to apply balance into the reality of person number two, then that's exactly what's going to happen. So person number one, if you're person number one and resonated with person number one and you fucking know it, you know what I mean? As much as you hate to admit that you're person number one, if you're person number one, like, understand now's the time to choose your best self, or you're gonna miss out on person number two and they're gonna have to catch them in another life. Make it up to them in another life. They might be so disappointed in soul that you didn't grow with them. You know, they might meet your soul's resonation in another life and just be really unsure whether or not to invest in you because they made a mistake in this life because you chose not to grow. So person number two's spiritual memory is going to say, this person didn't grow with me. I don't know if I can grow with this person, because the soul doesn't forget. Our mind does. Our body is new. Our life experience is new. But people don't understand how their choices don't just affect this lifetime. They don't just affect this lifetime. Person number two is going to feel person number one's energy in another fucking life, if that's the case. Like, if person number one chooses not to heal and chooses to watch person number two go off and be happily ever after with someone else, I guarantee you in another life, whoever person number two ends up with, they're going to meet whoever they ended up marrying in this life in another life. They're going to cross because they're divine soul connected, right? They are more inclined to be with their karmic person than their actual person, because there's an off-put memory about that person. So figure it out, person number one. Figure it out, because person number two is in a place of peace. They are the Lord of Peace restored. They are in Lord of Abundance energy. They are in Lord of Harmonious Change energy. And they feel that it is not worth reconciling with someone who puts in an unstable effort. That is literally the descriptors on their cards. Okay? That is literally the descriptor on their cards. They will not reconcile with someone who puts in an unstable effort. This person number two, they're in alignment. They're in alignment with whatever it is they're manifesting and receiving, right? Empress energy. They're manifesting moving forward with the Empress, Ten of Cups. Like, they're manifesting moving forward, and either you're going to move forward with person number two and be the person they're moving forward with, or you're not. Or you're not, and someone else will, because they're receiving what they're meant to receive. Person number two's alignment, they're going to receive what they're meant to receive. Whether you choose to be what they receive or not. Because you're either going to come with your best A game or you're not. You're going to bring your best to the table or you're not. And if you're not, person number two is going to smell it. They're not going to deal with it. They're not. I feel like with whatever resonation person number two is in, they're just not. They'll know. They'll know that you're not in alignment. They'll know that you're still your old version. They'll know that you haven't kicked your old habits, whatever they are. Right? Toxicity. It's toxic. It's not conducive to a healthy Ten of Cups relationship, which is why they're likely to move on. You know what I mean? They're likely to move on to have that healthy relationship with someone else. Person number one is on a time crunch to make a choice. So let me pull. I don't think I'm going to pull from the Fairy Oracle. I'll pull from the Journey of Love deck first, and we'll see where that takes us. We're going to get into some guidance. Whether you're person number 1 or person number 2, let the guidance serve you in the highest, your highest good and the highest good of all involved in your reality, right? I hold that intention for you, that it serves the highest good of all whenever this message and guidance reaches you. Loving all that is, card number 22. That is a master number. It's a master builder number. It's a co-creation number. This is a reminder that you manifest with spirit, right? That spirit manifests with you. It doesn't manifest for you or against you. It manifests with you. It manifests with your own energy. Okay, spirit doesn't manifest against your energy, and it doesn't manifest for your energy. It manifests with it. Okay, because of it. Loving all that is. You wise, awakening being, you can love all that is. You can love your tears and your sadness, for they are a testament to your open heart. You can love your numbness and fatigue, for they show that you have worked hard and are now in need of rest. You can love your energy and passion even when you are so far ahead of the pack, you have to wait a while for everyone else to catch up. Maybe a day, maybe a decade or so, because you choose not to curb your enthusiasm for anyone. You can love your anger because underneath its fire is a desire for respect, and you can love your peacefulness because within your heart you really don't care much for fighting sometimes. If there is something that is shaming you, worrying you, challenging you, it's okay, just love it. It will make sense when it needs to. Until then, just love it, even when it hurts. For it's part of your own divine nature awakening. It may just be like a painful cramp happening because it's been curled up for too long. This oracle brings you a sweet message. You are just asked to love. Everything else will take care of itself. And then the little poem, it has a little teeny poem here. And it says, a state of being, allowing, receiving, becoming one with all that is. You know, I had just put up a post, and it's in the community tab here on YouTube so that you can read it. I put up a post about the conjunction, right, with Uranus, Mars, and North Node being in Taurus, and the different aspects that were at play and what that actually meant for everybody. You know, this idea of oneness, this idea of self-ownership. Like if you look up the 12 universal laws, and it's going to be coming up a lot, because the 12 universal laws is, in fact, divine will. That's divine will. And our free will exists within the parameters of that divine will. Okay, because we can choose whatever we want to choose, but it falls within the parameters of this divine law, these universal laws, that is divine will. Okay, you can choose to be angry, you can choose to hate, you can choose to blame, you can choose to worry and be afraid, you can have tons of anxiety and let it dictate your life, but the outcome that manifests will match those vibrations. When you choose from a state of lower energy, you manifest realities and experiences that fucking suck. You do. Okay, when you make choices in trust, when you make choices, you know, based in the pursuit of joy and passion, and you're confident in yourself and your energy, and you trust who you are, and you love what you're creating, and you have no regrets because you put out the best love energy that you can, no matter what is received from you by who. You know, you just continue to put out your best, and you know the truth of things. You know what you deserve and what you don't. You know your value. You know, when you're in alignment, things work out. They are beautiful happenings. They are beautiful experiences because your energy is beautiful. So you can free will choose whatever you want. But until you conquer your low vibration, you're not going to get high vibrational results, right? You need to be able to check yourself. and say, my energy really could be better. My mindset could be better. My belief system can shift in order to better serve me, because maybe my belief system, even though it worked for me for a while, it's outdated. It's not actually manifesting my wish, right? So it doesn't matter if you believe in God, don't believe in God, believe in a higher power, don't believe in a higher power. The fact of the matter is there are 12 universal laws. And we are all under those. We all fall under it. Nature, the earth, people, we all fall under these universal laws. There's nothing outside of it, right? So with this energy, love all that is, because all that is, that divine will, is the teacher. That is the law. You know, we're souls here working on understanding a physical experience. Well, how as a soul can you grow and evolve in a physical experience? Well, when you're in a high vibration, wonderful things work out and happen. And when you're not, shitty things happen. And it's like, okay, it's almost like positive and negative reinforcement, right? Okay, so you made a choice from fear, and that fear-based choice turned into a really shitty outcome. Guess I shouldn't make a fear-based choice again. Like, that's the whole simple premise of how the universe, spirit, source, creator, whatever the fuck you want to call it, is teaching us as souls. Well, when you're in high alignment and you trust yourself and you take that leap of faith and you self-own and you acknowledge and you're self-aware and you can make better choices, conscious choices that, you know, are in alignment with faith and who you are and what you want to create, that you know you're good in soul and can manifest beautiful things. Well, yay, great things happened. Everything worked out. How about that? Because Spirit's like, thank you. You know what I mean? Positive reinforcement. You are in alignment. Positive energy, positive reinforcement. It's super simple. People think it's complicated, and it's not complicated at all. You're either in a fear-based state, low vibrational state, or you're in a trusting state. You're either trying to control outcomes or you're surrendering and everything's working out for a reason. You either think the universe is against you and life fucking hates you, or you're like, you know what, fuck it. The universe has only ever worked in my favor to help me grow. You're in one end of the spectrum or the other, and person number one and person number two are on opposite ends of the spectrum. Person number one is having a hard time getting out of their low vibrations. Prayers sent to you, person number one. Love and support sent in the highest, 100%. And yet, person number two, who is already in that upswing of energy, like they're manifesting wonderful shit. Love and support and whatever to you, person number two. Keep it going. Keep it going. You know? Like, this is why person number one and person number two are not in each other's reality. This is why. And person number two is I think they're very well aware that person number one has time, that the universe is giving them time, because the universe is merciful and compassionate and understands, but it can only give so much time. It can only give so much time. Life has to move forward. Everybody has to move forward. Everything is constantly moving forward. Time doesn't stand still. It doesn't go backwards. We're constantly moving. Constantly, everything in the world is shifting. There might not be a single thing changing inside my home right now, but there's cars driving down the street, and there's planes flying in the sky, and there's things being shipped across the world, and there's forests being burned somewhere, and someone growing trees somewhere else. Like, the whole world is shifting and changing all the time. Just because your reality isn't changing doesn't mean the world isn't. You might be sitting pretty in the same home for 10 years and be in the same relationship dynamics or whatever the case may be. You may have been sitting pretty with your addiction for a couple decades, but at the end of the day, life is always moving forward, and it's not stopping for anyone. It's not stopping for anyone. And people will manifest what they manifest, and it's no one's fault but their own darn selves. You can't hate on anybody but your own choices. You know what I mean? Like, once you're an adult and you're on your own, like, when you're able to be responsible for your own self because you've hit that age, right? That time showed up. That time came. You couldn't be a kid forever. Time's constantly moving forward. At some point, you had to physically grow up and be an adult. Well, there's the same thing in soul. At some point, you have to grow up. It's time. It's time to be an adult. A mature soul. It's time. You can't be a kid anymore. You have to own yourself and take responsibility for yourself as a soul. It's no different. Okay. So person number 2, I feel, has already made those choices and is on the way to receiving whatever they're meant to be receiving, whether it's person number 1 or someone else. I think their outcome, their positive outcome is the same. Person number 1 has that choice to make. They have that choice to make. If I dive deeper into the bottom of the deck, they have to choose to marry themselves in the higher perspective. They have to. The Emperor energy, they've got to create it. That choice, that crossroad energy, Hierophant, they've got to marry the higher perspective with the King of Swords. Especially if they want the Queen of Wands. Person number 1 wants the Queen of Wands. In all fairness, I think they'd marry the Queen of Wands. That's their sunshine. That's their sunshine, and they are terrified. They are terrified that their sunshine is going to move forward and be dead to them. They are. They're afraid of being alone. They're afraid of being alone, which means they have to put a fire under their ass and start making divine moves. They have to start making divine moves. There has to be some kind of communication, some kind of break in the silence, some kind of light shining through the clouds, and person number 1 has to choose it. Person number 1 has to choose it, I'm telling you right now. Person number 1, if you're watching this and you resonated to that energy, that's the bottom of your deck. The choice is yours right now, and it ain't going to be for long. You manifest what you manifest, my darling. You know? You manifest what you manifest. And nobody's to blame. It's your own choices, your own energetic choices. You choose not to shift and change, you know? Person number 2 isn't going to hate you for it, but in soul, they're not going to bank on you in this life or the next. They're not going to bank on you. You know what I mean? You didn't show up for yourself in this life. They're not going to be inclined to feel like you're going to show up in another one. So don't manifest the same karmic, painful cycles. Like, break your cycle, break it now while you're consciously aware and getting this message. You know what I mean? Because next life, you may or may not cross this video. You may or may not have someone guiding you to be aware of self. You're just going to be floating in ignorance until, you know, the universe tries to wake you up again, which it will. The universe does not give up. Universe does not give up. But why prolong? Why prolong the karmic bullshit when you could just evolve and elevate and be happy and get your wish? You know? Why are you making it so hard on yourself? Like, can you just forgive yourself for whatever it is that you think you need to be punished for, and accept that everything is divine and there's no mistakes and you didn't actually fuck up in this life, and that nothing is beyond repair, and you could wake up tomorrow and choose to just let whoever you were yesterday be who you were yesterday, because who you are today is special, and who you are today is determined, and who you are today doesn't make excuses and doesn't, you know, put addictions first. Like, you can definitively choose it for yourself. That's not who you are anymore, and this is. And you stick to that. Believe in yourself. You stick to that. Because you're the only person in your way, you know? Let's pull from the Fairy Oracle. Who's coming in a guide or guardian or advice to help you. You know what? Let this be specifically for person number 1. This is specifically for person number 1. I'll pull from the Instant Magic Oracle book for person number 2. This is for person number 1. Spirit, please. What card above all others for person number 1? What energy needs to come forward for them at this time? God bless them if they're still listening. And they hadn't signed off already. Like, fuck this, I'm person number 1, I'm out, I don't want to see myself. Like, kudos to you, person number 1, if you actually stuck around this long. You got a better shot than the one that didn't. All right. The Singer of Intuition. The Sage, the Maiden, the Fawn, the Pook. We're going to take the one that was on top. The Singer of Intuition. Card number 7. Okay. The singers in this deck, I'll read you what they are, because they're actually really cool. The Singers of the Realms. It says, of angels, St. Thomas Aquinas wrote, angels transcend every religion, every philosophy, and every creed. In fact, angels have no religion as we know it. Their existence precedes every religious system that has ever existed on earth. That is what the singers represent. The singers are constantly with us, and their energy and compassion are always available. When in need, all we have to do is ask them for help and then be aware of the events and insights that follow our request. I say it all the time, angels come when you call. So this Singer of Intuition is an angel or spirit energy that you can call on that will help you. All you have to do is be conscious after you call in the help, right? So, the Singer of Intuition is perceptiveness, oracular powers, awareness, and trust. The song of the Singer of Intuition carries all of the information there is. Some people believe that this information, often called the Akashic Records, is like a great filing cabinet or a library in the sky that we have to go to in order to get information intuitively or psychically. We needn't go anywhere. The song is sung within our blood and flesh and bones, just as it is within the rest of the universe. If, at humanity's present stage of evolution, we consciously heard the song in all its fullness, we would be overwhelmed, our minds burned out by that energy. A kindly universe has led us to a place in our development where we can consciously hear only bits of the melody. Usually we must develop skill in actively listening for it, but occasionally a few notes resonate so closely with our own being that we become aware of them. These involuntary experiences are what we call hunches or intuition or extended sense perceptions. We can improve our reception of the song by learning to be very still and to listen in a special way. Later chapters in part 3 give techniques for using this and other oracles as amplifiers for the song. What we get for practicing stillness through meditation and listening, just ask and then listen, is the ability to understand and interpret metasymbols, the symbolism beyond the material symbols of oracles and omens themselves. Stars, omens, portents, movement of stars and mice, these are all part of one piece, the one song, and therefore a part of us as well, and we are them. Understanding them truly is just a matter of learning to be still, to ask, and to listen. Someday, as we evolve and grow, we will be able to hear more and more of this song to base our actions and choices on greater knowledge. Patience and practice are the keys to all of the subtle, clear senses. Clairaudience, which is clear hearing, clairvoyance, clear seeing, clairsentience, clear knowing, telepathy, hearing each other without words, and precognition, knowing before or glimpses of a probable future. In a reading, the presence of the singer of intuition indicates that information is available to us if we will just listen to our own inner knowing. Perhaps we have already heard it and still doubt our subtle senses. The singer says this is the time to really listen to our intuition. What are our feelings, hunches, and intuitions about the situation? Is it desirable that we should seek solitude, meditate, and practice stillness and patience? This is a time for inward focus, a time to open the inner door to intuition. There are lots of ins in this sentence because important answers are to be found within ourselves. The presence of this singer in a card. The presence of the singer in a card reading radiates special illumination and insight on the other cards that would be surrounding it. So person number one, because we had the High Priestess on the bottom of your deck, which is essentially the highest of intuitive cards in the whole tarot, right? The underlying energy is to get you in touch with your intuition. This card specifically spoke about meditation and stillness and listening, right? So I'm going to give you a clue, because if you think meditation is trying to still your thoughts in order to better understand and receive a message, it's actually the complete opposite. If you can be consciously aware of the fact that you're thinking, I'm having these thoughts right now, and you're consciously aware of your thoughts, then you can also understand that you as a soul are not your thoughts. They're separate. Your soul and your thoughts are separate. No different than you could be consciously aware of how you feel, but you are not your feelings. You are aware of your feelings. So if you are aware of your thoughts and aware of your feelings, you are not your thoughts or feelings because you're aware of them. You are something else, which is the soul. So if you are the soul and you are aware of your thoughts and you are aware of your feelings, you can listen to what your thoughts are saying and what they're leading you to believe. You can feel how your heart is feeling and what it's leading you to believe. I feel hurt by this person. They would never talk to me again, is the thought. I feel betrayed by this person. I don't know if I could ever trust them again, is the thought. You're consciously aware of both of them. Now, with your own awareness, you get to discern, is that true? Is that true? Is that thought true? Is that feeling true? They would lead you to believe that they're true, but are they true? What if you were consciously aware and chose to perceive it from a different angle? You know what? I did hurt them. I know I must have. My behavior, I know I must have. You know, they said things in the past that any time I did this, it bothered them, and I continued to do it. And I really was afraid to commit to them because maybe they were too good for me, or maybe they were too good to be true, and I did treat them like this. And I didn't think they'd ever find out, but I did treat them like that behind their back. And then my thoughts were worried, right? And I manifested from a worried vibration, which ultimately caused me to lose them anyway. You know, you can choose a different perspective. You can be like, you know what? This person really did care about me. I'm sure if I actually talked to them or tried to reach out, maybe the chances are 50-50 that they would talk to me, instead of listening to the thought that says they would never talk to me again. I fucked up beyond belief and I'm hurt, right? These feelings and thoughts that are convincing you to believe a certain way. You can be aware of them and then dictate what your next thought is. Dictate what your next feeling is, because you can choose to continue to believe in that hurt, or you can choose to believe that, well, maybe I could fix it. I'd be really grateful If they did, I'm really grateful they were in my life to begin with. You can choose to feel what you want to feel. You, the soul, chooses your thoughts and feelings. They will constantly just flow. They will constantly just flow. But if you can be aware of them, if you can still your soul to listen to what they're saying, you can choose to change what they're saying. Because you, the soul, are actually in control of your thoughts and feelings. If you think of something and there's nothing but negative thoughts coming through, and you're feeling something and there's nothing but negative feelings coming through, that is an internal thought and feeling issue that needs a perception change. And the soul chooses that. I'm going to choose to perceive it differently. That's the difference between saying, well, this is who I am, and if people don't like it, they can fucking blah, blah, blah. And you know what? This is who I am, and it cost me things that I loved or appreciated in hindsight, right? I didn't know what I had until I lost it. I don't know if I could ever find someone or something to actually replace what I lost. And so, you know what? Maybe I can change because it's worth changing for. It's actually worth changing for. It's worth growing for. It's worth evolving for. It's worth maturing for. Right? You as a soul get to choose what your thoughts and feelings say. Your feelings could be really hurt that, you know, someone didn't answer their call or they didn't respond the way that you thought they did. And that's a clue for you internally to say, hey, maybe you have rejection issues. Maybe you have insecurity wounds. Maybe you have abandonment wounds. Maybe you have these different childhood wounds. And this person in the mirror is bringing it up for you to heal. It's not a blame game. Well, they're this and they hurt me. Like, no, you have internal wounds and your choices are bringing them up to reflect back at you in the outer experience, right? So the singer of intuition, trust your soul. Trust your soul. Your soul knows a person. Did a person really hurt you? Or did your choices create a reality that hurt you? And that person just so happened to be a part of it. Because your intuition knows if someone was literally trying to hurt you or if they really weren't. That's for person number one. Okay? That's for person number one. For person number two, we're going to pull a page. So, Spirit, please. Make it hot. Tell me where to cut the pages. I got 2 pages. Major breakthrough incoming. Let me keep my finger on that page so I don't lose it. Major breakthrough incoming. If you keep repeating harmful behaviors, ask yourself why. That was the first page I cut, right? Keep repeating harmful behaviors, ask yourself why. Page 31, I cut to before, and a major breakthrough coming. Person number 2. You might also need to discern. Because a person might not intend to hurt you. Your heart and soul might love them. But if you keep going back knowing someone's not ready, you got to ask yourself why you keep repeating harmful things when you know better. Don't go back until they're ready. Not in this life or any other. Trust yourself, person number 2. You keep repeating harmful behaviors. Ask yourself why. Behaviors are choices. Just trust a little more. You don't have to go back because they were the love of your life and you might never feel that way ever again. That's a fear. I'll never feel that way ever again. I only felt it with them. I'm afraid I'll never feel it again. I'm afraid I'll never feel it again. That's a low vibration, isn't it, darling? Trust that Spirit loves you and they'll grow if they're meant to grow, and if they're not, you're gonna feel it again, maybe even more so with someone new. You know? Don't get sucked back into old behaviors. Well, this is the only person I've ever felt it with. Because you haven't given anybody else a chance. Right? So with that said, y'all, that concludes our person 1 and person 2 reading for today. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for your likes, comments, shares. I greatly appreciate all of you very much. Love and support sent your way whenever you need it. Take care, everybody. Till next time.